It's back, and thank God for that. IndyCar and iRacing are back together again, and you know it had to happen. Aussie Online Gaming has returned for another season of Fixed Indy Australia here in summer 2024. We're at the first round here at Sebring International Raceway, racing the IndyCar, of course, at many road courses and a few ovals for good measure as well. Bringing it to you all live on SimSpeed TV here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. It's me, Reese Gardner. Brady Baldwin is with me in the commentary box, and of course, Jay Kennedy is in the producer's chair, pushing all of the buttons behind the scenes. Brady, I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. I know I say that a lot, but it is just as genuine as it always is. We've spent such a long time without being able to broadcast IndyCar leagues, thanks to licensing stuff, I suppose you could say. But all of that's been fixed. We can race IndyCar again.
Yeah, it is fantastic, Reese. I remember doing the first season of this series probably a year or a year and a half ago, and it was a fantastic race, and I really enjoyed it. And overall, having IndyCar back on the service and able to stream it like we are tonight, it's absolutely fantastic, and got a good turnout tonight as well, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep, of course. Sebring International Raceway, of course. A magnificent circuit, this, and hasn't hosted much US open wheel racing, actually, but it's often been used as a testing venue for the real-life NTT IndyCar series, thanks to the short layout's resemblance to a street circuit. Of course, IndyCar racing at a lot of street circuits in America, but we're racing the full 12-hour layout of Sebring International Raceway here. Of course, this is where we started the AOG Porsche Cup last season, Brady, and we've had plenty of experience around this track behind the wheel. It is bumpy, it is tough, it is fast. It's going to be difficult in these cars.
Yeah, 100%. It's pretty much a street circuit that's not a street circuit. It's that bumpy, very technical racetrack. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do any laps to see how it is. Not that I'd be 5 seconds off the pace or anything. But yeah, very difficult track in these cars. It can definitely throw you off, especially through the bumps. And yeah, very technical circuit. Going to be some hard and fast racing all night long, and don't really know what to expect, but I think it's going to be a fantastic night of racing either way.
Yeah, I certainly think it's going to be fantastic too. Let's go over the round format as drivers are completing their qualifying runs. We are halfway through the 15-minute qualifying session. And of course, you won't have any push to pass. We're going to explain push to pass in greater detail later. It's a 35-lap race where drivers must use both tyre compounds. You have a prime and an option tyre, or a prime and an alternate, so to speak, Brady. The red-walled tyres are the softer compound, which do give you a bit of a speed boost for a few laps, and it's no surprise to see that the majority of drivers in the field are using those tyres.
Yeah, so from what I got explained earlier on, the softer tyres, obviously like Formula 1, the softer compound, or even in V8 touring cars, is the fastest tyre but doesn't last as long, and apparently the drop-off is quite bad after a stint in the race, and obviously drivers having to use both compounds tonight will make it very interesting. We've been told probably a two-stop race with fuel limits and whatnot, so it's going to be very interesting to see a variety of different strategies in the 35-lap race tonight.
Yeah, will drivers start on the soft compound and try and get a leg up on the rest of the field, or are they going to go long on the harder compound and get a little speed boost at the end? We'll have to wait and see, because the advantage of the soft compound is it is, of course, faster, but as we've heard from the drivers, that speed advantage of about a second disappears after a few laps. So got to be very careful about when you get those tyres on. Pit lane, of course, closing under the commencement of a safety car period. This is live race control in this league. The AOG crew are there in their McLaren 570Ss, ready to come out on track if there's a big crash or someone can't make it back to the pits under their own power. And of course, each driver gets 10 push to pass periods, a maximum of 20 seconds at a time over those 35 laps. This is how push to pass works. An extra 60 horsepower for up to 20 seconds, and deactivates after the time or when drivers ease off the throttle. So places to use push to pass will probably be onto the Ullman Straight, the straight before the final corner here at Sebring, or coming out of Sunset Bend. Those seem like the best places to use it for me.
Yeah, I don't really see anywhere else being feasible that you get enough of an advantage to use it. So I think you would be right. The long back straight or the longer front straight certainly will be the places to use and could set you up for a really good pass into Sunset Bend or even potentially into turn 1 as well, Reese.
Yeah, indeed. We've got plenty of opportunities to use push to pass this season because we have a lot more road courses on the schedule than we did in season 1. We're starting off here at Sebring, of course, and then we go to Indianapolis and Barber. First oval of the season is round 4 at Texas on the 2nd of April, and then we go to Spa, then Iowa, another oval, and flipping it up around a bit, Hockenheim and Auto Club. We're not sticking to the United States here. Of course, we end with Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the oval, and we're going to be having an Indy 500 to round out the season. It's going to work exactly the same way as the real 500, Brady. We've got a qualifying night where only the top 33 cars make it into the race.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. As a season finale as well, race can throw up so much action and so much drama. What a fitting way to end off this fantastic season of racing.
Yeah, indeed. We'll keep an eye on the drivers here in the field. Of course, we have plenty of returning drivers from Season 1 for this one. We got Cameron Dance, the reigning champion, defending his title. The likes of Broad, Carr, Bowler, Hins, Johnson, Albert, Capel, Rankin, Kerr, and Edwards, all returning from last season. And right down the bottom there, Brady, look, there's you.
I got no words at all. I got absolutely no words. I knew I was in for something, but that's a really, really low blow, Jay. Thank you very much. Yeah. What else do I have to say about that one?
Hey, look, at least you had a result recorded. I was on comms last season. I didn't race, so you've got that one up on me. You got a bit more experience in these cars than I do as we enter the final 3 minutes of qualifying. Daniel Edmonds currently on provisional pole position, 139.7. That is a very quick time indeed. The fastest time we saw in practice was from Bailey Evans, 1 minute 40.000. There is the reigning champion, Cameron Dance, and we've got Simbricks.com DPR racing in this field as well. Edmonds, of course, part of that team. It looks like Cameron Dance has not quite been able to put the lap together like he wanted. Only 2.5 minutes left in the session, so if they want to get a good time on the board, they have to get started on that run now.
Yeah, not much time left on the board at all. It's good to see a lot of new names, at least for me, in this field. I probably don't even know half the drivers in this field, so it's really good to see some new faces amongst the field here on SimSpeed, and fantastic onboard there, the 221 of Bailey Evans coming through the final part of the lap before he gets to the Ullman Straight. So fantastic field of cars as well tonight, Reece. I think we've got about 26 cars in the session, so a really good turnout for round number 1, and currently Daniel Edmonds up the top, and look at the gap too, Reece, bit over 0.4 of a second. It's pretty big. Yeah,
he's helping complete an almost literal whitewash of DPR cars at the front of the field. Both Reece Margits in second place and Bailey Evans are also part of the Simrings.com DPR team. Cameron Dance, the one exception in the top 4 with his Orbit Motorsports livery machine there, the purple and yellow, that I'm sure you'll see a lot tonight. Tim Vaughan, meanwhile, 6th place at the moment in the session, looking to improve on a 1 minute 40.4, just coming onto the Ullman Straight now, darting his way towards what was almost the apex of the corner, but it looked from that angle that he ran a little bit wide. So let's see if he carries that momentum to the end of the lap as the session enters its final minute.
He's only got to find 1,000th of a second here to jump the 69 of Brady Carr into position number 5. So not much time to find to gain one position here. The 74 of Tim Vaughan crosses the line. It's a 39.9. Wow. Actually, no, it's a 38.8. 39.8. I apologise. The P2. So fantastic lap there. The 74 of Timothy Vaughan right at the end of the session. 30 seconds remaining. And puts down a belter of a lap. Only the second guy to go into the 39s in qualifying.
Yeah, that's fantastic performance there from Timothy Vaughan. We also saw a great improvement from Dean Jacobson as well. He just got into the top 10 when Vaughan was finishing his lap. What about Tyson Broad? He ran quite well, actually, last season. If I can get my notes together, he was fourth in the standings in season 1, so he's got plenty of potential for good performances in this car, and he's not quite where he needs to be right now. 1:41.8 was his fastest time in practice. He's down to a 49.29 in qualifying, and that's not going to improve anything for Tyson Broad there. Tyres burnt up, lap over, checkered flag has already flown in the session. No chance of improving on 19th. What about Edmonds? Can he improve on that 39.78 that we saw from him earlier? Let's see, shorten the run to the line, and it's going to be a 39.9, so no improvement there. However, he should be very happy with what is almost certainly going to be pole position for round 1 of Fixed Indy Australia Season 2. Meanwhile, Daniel Benefield finishing off a hot lap here. Benefield is a sim racing veteran, as is the guy he's trying to beat, Thomas Hinz, in 12th place. Only a tenth of a second between them, and Benefield does like his downforce cars. He's usually very active in prototypes. Haven't seen much of him in open wheelers, though.
Very interesting to note on the side there, Reece, 4 of the top 6 cars in qualifying so far are from the DPR camp. So very impressive showing from that team so far. Only Timothy Vaughan, I believe, is in a Vermilion car, and Cameron Dance in the Orbit machine. The only other non-DPR guys in the top 6. So that team has come out to play for round number 1 of this championship. But Daniel Benefield, we got on the bottom of the screen. Sorry, on the top of the screen. I apologise. Thomas Hinz on the bottom. Thomas Hinz will come across the line to finish his last lap. It is an improvement, a 40.57. What is Benefield going to do? A 40.4. So he jumps in right at the end, and they'll put Benefield P7 in the standings. Thomas Hinz P10. So last grass lap there for those two drivers, and looks like they'll be our last driver to complete a lap. So I'm pretty sure the grid is going to be set.
Yeah, race control just going through their final preparations here, making sure that their hotkeys for session text macros are sorted. We'll get a quick look at the weather before we go through the grid. It's 26 degrees Celsius out there. Of course, you're looking at B-roll right now. It's actually quite overcast out on circuit at the moment. Only 26 degrees Celsius track temp, as I mentioned, so there's going to be a lot of grip out there for the drivers. Humidity, reasonable, 62%, and it looks like we got some big wind gusts there, 14 k's an hour coming from the south. So that should result in a pretty big tailwind coming out of turn 1 and a massive headwind coming out of tower turn. How will the drivers cope? We'll have to see. Here's how they line up for round 1 of Fixed Indy Australia Season 2. Daniel Edmonds on pole position, with Tim Vaughan within a tenth of him for Vermilion Motorsports. James Glasspool, meanwhile, in the 979, locking out the second row for DPR with Reece Margetts. Cameron Dance, the reigning series champion, is going to start in 5th place, just a couple of hundredths ahead of Bailey Evans, the last of the simrigs.com DPR cars in the session. Daniel Benefield and Brady Carr will round out the top 8, and the top 10 is completed by Joe Mahoney and Thomas Hinz.
The 21 of Harry Lawrence and the 10 of Dean Jacobson will share row number 6 there. 13th and 14th will be Ben Johnson in the Drop Air Motorsport machine, and Ethan Luthwaite in the Whiskey Business Race machine. That's a pretty cool team name, if I do say so myself. Brody Shepherd in the Vermilion Motorsports machine will start 15th, and our very own Scotty Rankin will start from position number 16. Another one of our SimSpeed guys, Ryan Jones, will start position number 17, and Atsushi Ofane will start in position number 18. The top 20 is rounded out by Tyson Broad and Peter Baxter.
Sam Katakouzanos in car 968 will start alongside Grant Matterford from Pulse Racing Team. Then we've got Jordan Ferguson and Mark Cochran in 23rd and 24th. Robert Baxter, the last driver to set a time in this field, 25th place, with Bradley Wingard, the last of the IndyCars, starting in this field in the Drop Bear Motorsport number 31. 26 Dallara IR-18s taking to the start here at Sebring. Of course, as you saw, we have Daniel Yeaman and Tom Wilkinson working in race control for this one. And and Yeaman is going to be jumping in the safety car if there is a need for it. A rolling start here, and it's a full pace lap behind the AI-controlled iRacing pace car. So this gives a chance for drivers to work some heat into their tires. Most of the field has gone for the hard compound, but we do see a few decided to go for the soft to start with. Looks like Benefield, Mahoney, Rankin, Baxter, Matterford, and Cochrane are all on the soft compound. Everyone else has decided to start with the prime tire.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what Benefield can do from position number 7 on that red tyre, and Mahoney P9. So they're in the top 10. They're going to be racing against guys on a slower tyre. So I think they'll have to take advantage of it pretty early, try and get a few spots, because that lasting effect of the new soft tyre will not last too long. So they've got to use it up early, try and get some moves on, and then try and hold on as much as they can, because they won't be able to go as long into the race as the guys on the primary tyre. So it's another interesting strategy part to this type of racing with the two different compounds. You don't really get that in any sort of sim racing at the moment with two different compounds. So it's pretty cool, something different for us to talk about, Reese, and I'm really looking forward to the alternating strategies between those guys starting on the red-walled option tyre and the black-walled primary tyre.
Yeah, and another question that leads into is, will we see the guys on the softer tyres using more of their push-to-passes earlier on in the race? Because I'm thinking if you're going for the soft tyre, you're banking on getting as much of an advantage over your competitors as possible in the early stages, and then trying to defend later on when everyone else goes onto the soft tyre and is faster for a couple of laps. So if you are on that softer tyre now, I reckon you'd want to put max power in your car for the first few laps to try and get a gap going.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That's what I would be doing if I was in someone like Daniel Benefield or Joe Mahoney's shoes. You've got to make hay while it lasts with the grip in that tyre. So it'll certainly be very interesting. Obviously, they'll probably have a good grip advantage coming off turn number 16 onto the Ullman Straight, and then obviously a bit more grip around Sunset Bend to potentially use the push pass down the front straight and obviously down the Ullman Straight as well. So it'll be very interesting to see a couple laps in just to see where they are at, and after probably 5 or 6 laps, if it's all clean and green at that stage, we can see what the lap time difference is between what the option tyre and the primary tyre is. It's so much going on, Reece. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic race, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. No incidents to review from qualifying, says Race Control, and that's good news for us. So we're going to have a completely level playing field to start off the second season of Fixed Indy Australia. Keep an eye out for the drivers on the alternate compound. Remember, Daniel Benefield starting in 7th, Joe Mahoney from 9th. We also have Scott Rankin from 16th, Peter Baxter from 20th, Grant Matterford from 22nd, and Mark Cochrane from 24th. Keep an eye on those drivers. They are going to be starting on the softer compound. They will be about a second faster than everyone else for the first few laps of the race before their advantage drops off. Will they be able to take advantage? Will there be any advantage from Daniel Edmonds as he leads the field away, coming out of Sunset Bend? Pace car in, enters the restart zone, and we are away. Fixed Indy Australia Season 2 is go. Fantastic start from Edmonds. Unfortunately, Timothy Vaughan not as quick off the mark. Already losing second place to James Glasspool, but tries around the outside of turn 1. Can't get it done. There's no grip out there on the outside line as a little bit of sun comes over the racetrack. Big move from Cameron Dance, the reigning champion, already up into P3 by the time they get to turn 5.
And look at Daniel Benefield already challenging for position number 4 on the first lap. So he's already gained 2 positions, he's up to 5th, and he's trying to get past Timothy Vaughan. Look at Scott Rankin, there's the push to pass graphic. If you see that, a driver is on push to pass, and that's what Scott Rankin's doing already on lap 1. So he's trying to make use of that red walled alternate tyre and trying to make his way throughout the field. But a fantastic start all throughout the field. We're still clean and green, Reece.
Absolutely, we are. Unfortunately, Dean Jacobson dropping like a stone at the moment. He's down 5 positions as they come into the into the Collier curve. Oh, is that Tyson Broad that's had an issue? Yeah, it is. And Brody Shepherd, unfortunately, has had a big crash as well. That car's massively damaged. The Vermilion Motorsports 55 out of the race. He's not making it back to the pits under his own power. We might already have our first safety car of the season.
Yeah, I think we will. He just lost it completely on his own. We'll try and queue up a replay when we have the time. I think there will be a safety car. That car is stranded and on the edge of the racetrack. So we will be, I assume, we'll be seeing a safety car very, very shortly. And that's going to open up another strategic element. If guys will get off the red wall tyre straight away, complete one of their pit stops under the safety car. So for the moment, we're still staying green, but would not be surprised if we have a safety car very shortly as drivers start lap number 2.
Yeah, and Daniel Benefield completing the move on Cameron Dance and getting up into P3. It looked like Dance had a slightly better run down the Ullman Straight, but ran very wide in Sunset Bend. Benefield got past him nice and cleanly. Edmonds still the leader by 7/10 of a second over James Glasspool. Slow driver coming out of turn 1, Dean Jacobson once again continuing what hasn't been a very good run to start off this first round. He's down 11 places now to 23rd spot. Meanwhile, the leaders just coming out of the hairpin and through Fangio. We got another driver off. Is that another driver? No, that's still Brody Shepherd. It looks like he got it moving, I think, but had to stop again. So he's gotten off the racing surface now. This is around the period that he crashed. Safety car has been called by race control, and pit lane entrance is closed. Once the field is formed up behind the safety car, the pit lane will open. Here's what happened to Brody Shepherd. Going through Collier curve on the power. Maybe just clipped the curb. Oh, I think it was just the power just getting away from him there on those cold, hard tyres.
Yeah, I think just lack of grip there on lap number 1. Fortunately got the car loose and straight into the barrier. He did get the car moving, I think, just to get off the racing surface. And unfortunately still couldn't get back to the pits. So first safety car of the night, first safety car of the season. And interestingly enough, pit lane is closed. I'm sure that's probably to align with more real IndyCar rules as we go on board now with Brody Shepherd in behind Scotty Rankin. Looks like just gets on the... Yeah, it's just like a grip there, Reese. He didn't get a curb at all, just like a grip. Probably got on the pedal a little bit too early. There goes the front nose and the left front suspension, and that's unfortunately be race done for him. Interesting enough, Daniel Benefield +4 already up to 3rd on the softer tyres. Joe Mahoney hasn't really made the ground he probably would have wanted. He's up to 8th. Scotty Rankin's up 2 positions. Peter Baxter's up 4 positions. Conquerin is +5 and Manaford is +1. Apologies. So everyone has made ground on the soft alternate tyres. Mahoney probably might be a little bit disappointed not to make as much ground, but Daniel Benefield certainly made a gain from using that soft tyre. And there's the push to pass on the ticker there, and he's already seen Scotty Rankin did use one on that first up we did pick up, and looks like he is the only one to use one. So a bit trigger happy, I think, Scott.
Yeah, maybe, but hey, it's given him the advantage that he needs, and that's all well and good for him. Might come back to bite him later on. He might run out of push to passes a little earlier than everyone else. Benefield able to take advantage of the softer compound beautifully, and that safety car came just in time, I think, because remember, drivers were telling us that the advantage of the soft tyre only lasts for a few laps. We're on lap 3 now, so I think now the pace between the compounds will be equalized. The softer compounds should get back up to operating temperature faster, but whether or not it will still have more grip by the time that happens remains to be seen.
And safety car is in this lap as well, so very quick safety car period for these drivers, which is good. We get more green flag racing, which is what we want to see. And I agree with what you touched on, Race. I think Benefield in P3 is going to be the one to watch here. He'll get those red wall tyres up to temperature a little bit quicker than the guys in front of him, Glasspool and Edmonds. So don't be surprised if you see Benefield making a move for P2 and potentially the race lead in the next lap or two. But then the problem is he's got to try and hold those guys off because they'll eventually have the better tyre than him. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out.
Yeah, will be interesting indeed. The safety car pulls away. Daniel Yeaman gets on the power and brings the McLaren 570S back to the pit lane. Of course, safety car livery provided by Worm Paints. Big thanks for your beautiful design work there. Plenty of beautiful design work throughout all of the liveries that we see in this field. But it is, as I said before, literal whitewash in the top two, with Daniel Edmonds and James Glasspool making their way through here in the top two. Can Benefield get his tyres up to temperature and have a run at the race lead? Try and get the last little bit of pace wrung out of the soft tyre. That's an early getaway there from Daniel Edmonds. Went before the apex of Sunset Bend, and it seems like he caught out his teammate Glasspool, because Benefield is right on the back of them as they resume racing, crossing the start-finish line. Look at the weaving there from the DPR car of Bailey Evans. He wants to get back up to speed quickly. Reese Margetts is just in front of him. Meanwhile, move up the inside into turn one there from Aidan Luthwaite. Unsuccessful on Scott Rankin, who, remember, used his push to pass off the start there. And have a look at this side by side. Thomas Hinz, Harry Lawrence and Brady Carr coming into turn five. Carr has to make way for Lawrence and Hinz.
Yeah, it's a fantastic race, and all throughout the field, Thomas Hinz, they're now on the push to pass, a little bit defensive on the inside, coming into turn number 7 at the hairpin. Fortunately, he's not going to be able to hold off Harry Lawrence. Goes around the outside, he gets the move done. Look at Scott Rankin coming through the field now. He's up to position number 12, so he's really moving out throughout the field. Daniel Benefield, like we touched on, he's got up to position number 2 using that soft compound tyre. He's now going to try and get after Daniel Edmonds, who's got a sizable lead in front off that fantastic restart. So we'll see what Benefield can do to try and close that gap into the leader.
Yeah, it was a great move up the inside of the hairpin for Daniel Benefield to get past James Glasspool, and now Glasspool is under pressure from Cameron Dance. Timothy Vaughan looking to gain positions back. Remember, he started in second, did not have a good first lap. Let's have a look at the dash there for Cameron Dance. Once again, still has quite a bit of push to pass left. Is he pushing or bopping? I'm not too sure. He's probably listening to something there as he chases down a potential podium position to get his second season off to a good campaign. Ben Johnson on the push to pass. Who was the other guy that I saw there? Peter Baxter, I think? Not too sure. Dean Jacobson, meanwhile, trying to gain some positions back, but he's going all the way over the bumps at the final corner. Hinz on push to pass now, looking to make a move up into 12th spot alongside Ben Johnson. Can he get it done? Johnson holding the outside line. There's an advantage there from Aidan Luthwaite, who tries to get the pass done, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, some fantastic battling all throughout the field. I think Cam might have been listening to some disco music, and it looked like on the back straight there, providing some entertainment for us here in the commentary box. Peter Baxter now, he's in behind. Sam Kay coming, oh no, he is actually, sorry, my apologies, down the inside. We'll hold him off into the hairpin at turn number 7. There's action all throughout the field happening. Races, no matter where you look, there's always something happening, but Daniel Edmonds looks pretty safe and front at the moment. We'll get some good lap times on this lap to see whether Benefield's actually making a gain on Daniel Edmonds, or if that soft tyre's already dropped off the cliff. So, someone's lost the front wing, was it?
Big move there at Tower from Thomas Hinz, gets past Benjamin Johnson, and I'm not too sure, I didn't see any body parts flying around, but this three-way battle is immense right now. Can Hinz use the push to pass again to try and get away from Johnson on the way down the Ullman Straight? Let's see, a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the Le Mans curve there. No one using push to pass right now out of the top 20, so it's all down to the slipstream here for Benjamin Johnson. Tries to get up to the rear of Thomas Hinz, not close enough to make a move, and Ryan Jones is going to be looking on at that battle. He's gaining a little bit on Aidan Luthwaite, lap on lap, as they come onto the start-finish straight once more. Fastest car on track that time by was James Glasspool in third, 1 minute 42.19, only a titch faster than Daniel Benefield.
Yeah, interesting to note that Benefield's slower than actually the leader Daniel Edmonds on the softer compound tyre, so I am thinking that the benefit he had from those tyres has gone away just a little bit already in this race. We're only on lap 6. We've still got about 30 laps to go in this race, still a long way to go, and we haven't even had a pit stop yet, so still a lot to play out in this race. The number 7 there going through, that is Aidan Luthwaite, in behind Benjamin Johnson. He's got Ryan Jones right on his back tail, and there goes Johnson and Ryan Jones on the push to pass. So Jones will be looking for a move around the outside here into turn number 10 at Collier. Won't get it done successfully. He'll try again, I think, on the Ulman straight, try and get it into Sunset Bend, maybe use some more push to pass.
Yeah, we've got to remember push to pass numbers next to the gaps here. Ryan Jones still has 9 push to passes left. Looks like 2 push to passes have been used by Rankin, Hinds, and Johnson. Meanwhile, there goes James Glasspool using his first push to pass there to try and catch back up to Daniel Benefield in second place. The slipstream's not quite there for him, and he needs to get away from Cameron Dance. Otherwise, he's going to lose that spot on the podium. Let's see what the lap times are this time around. Edmonds across the line, 142.4. Daniel Benefield, 142.2. He takes the fastest car on track title away and is really on the charge here. He wants to win.
Yeah, maybe it was just a poor lap the lap before for Benefield, but certainly 2 tenths that last lap. I do apologise. Certainly making ground there on Edmonds, down to 1.2 seconds now, and battle on screen for 20 seconds as well between Jacobson, actually for 21st, Matterford, Jacobson, Ferguson and Wingard, who started right at the back. He's making ground as well. So all throughout the field, there's always something going on. We're on board there with Bradley Wingard for Drop Bear, currently in P24. Looks pretty relaxed, doesn't he, Reece?
Yeah, he does indeed. Brad Wingard is another friend of SimSpeed. He's made quite a few appearances in the commentary box over the last couple of years and became a dad a year or 2 ago. Congratulations to Brad and his partner there. Of course, that's old news by this point. We always see an appearance or 2 from his daughter when he's in the Discord with us. Let's keep an eye on Cameron Dance as well as he tries to catch up to James Glasspool here. They are in the Jean de Bien Le Mans complex, which is a very difficult sequence of corners. You have to nail the exit because here is the Ulman Straight, longest flat-out section on the circuit. And I noticed Glasspool ran a little bit wide and onto the grass, so already would have picked up an off-track. And this battle for third stretching all the way back to Harry Lawrence in ninth. If there's one incident in the middle of this pack, everyone behind can take advantage.
Yeah, just seen a big slide from Glasspool coming out of Sunset Bend there, so I think he's struggling just a little bit. That last lap was a 43.1 for Glasspool. In front of him, 42.3 for Benefield, 42.7 for Edmund. So I think James Glasspool's just struggling a little bit for pace at the moment. A little bit of a train forming in behind with Dan, Vaughan and Evans really close by, and they're not far back to Mahoney, Margetts and Lawrence. So a lot going on. This is the slide I was talking about. Reece, watch this. Big slide on off Sunset Bend, which is not easy to control in these cars from my prior experience, but Bailey Evans was having a quick look there at Timothy Vaughan into turn number 7. Didn't think anything of it. Was a little bit too far back to get anything done on board the 221 DPR machine. Not using any push to pass as of yet. He's pretty comfortable sitting back there in position number 6, closing right in on Vaughan in the braking zone. We're only on lap 8. Remember, these guys we're expecting 2 pit stops for these drivers here tonight, so a lot to play out still in this race.
Yeah, you notice that Bailey was using first gear in Collier Curve, and he's keeping the revs nice and high to take advantage of the turbo. These cars use a twin-turbo V6 engine, which obviously means that you have to keep the revs nice and high through the corners for maximum acceleration out of the corners. That can come back to bite you if the tyres are cold, though. You've got to be very careful on your throttle application. Atsushi Osafune, meanwhile, making a pass on Tyson Broad briefly, but Broad gets back ahead of him. It's the battle for 18th place that we're looking at the moment. Broad ahead of Osafune. And then we have Cochrane, Matterford, and Ferguson in a 3-car fight. Meanwhile, there's some big changes. Benefield is the first driver to take to the pit lane. He's wanting to get rid of those soft tyres and go in for the long run to end this race off. That promotes Cameron Dance up into 3rd, and he is increasing the pressure on James Glasspool.
Yeah, probably not too surprising for Benefield to get off those tyres. They're not going to last too much longer at the pace he was going at. So pretty quick pit stop by the looks, 8.1 seconds. Taking a little bit of fuel as well. We've got a slow car on the front straight there? No, he's still going. Apologies. So, Benefield out of the pits. Now on the black, that was Wingard. Looked a little bit slow coming out of the last corner, but it might have been the camera angle.
He did have a spin in the final corner, it seems. Unfortunately, embroiled in a fight with Dean Jacobson. But it looks like Wingard just lost it by himself over the bump under the bridge at Sunset Bend, which is a very extreme bump. It throws the car airborne. And in cars with stiff suspension like these Indy cars, there's not much you can do if you're sent into a slide there. Meanwhile, the battle for 7th, only 2/10 between Harry Lawrence and Reese Margetts here, and you see just how much heat is produced by those twin-turbo V6s. Lawrence trying to pull a move on the car in front, but can't make the move into Gendebien. Might have to wait until the end of the Almond Straight for it. Does he jump on the push to pass? Doesn't look like it. He's going to leave it for the final half of the race, it seems. And I think the majority of the drivers are going to be using it there. Doesn't even need push to pass. He's got enough power in the slipstream to try and pull a move on him. But again, not successful.
No, not successful, unfortunately for Lawrence, but still a long way to go in this race. We'll be watching out for the other guys that were on the soft tyre. And on cue, Scotty Rankin now in the lane. And so is, looks like Peter Baxter as well. So that's now 3 of our alternate tyre runners in the pit lane, and looks like another car in the lane as well. Trying to pick it up is Matterford as well in the lane. So I believe the only one left on track is Mark Cochran, I believe. So and Joe Mahoney, apologies.
Yeah.
So 2 left on the alternate tyre. Mahoney's last lap was a 43.3, not too far off Timothy Vaughan, who's 1 position ahead on a 43.1. And Timothy Vaughan mowing the grass.
Yeah, he just got passed there by Bailey Evans in the hairpin. Tyson Broad on the push to pass, meanwhile, in 15th place, trying to get a run on Sam Katakusanos, and he's certainly done that, up into 14th now. But remember, all of our prime runners have yet to make a pit stop, apart from Brodie Shepherd, who, of course, took to the pits because of his crash earlier. So, Mahoney, the driver that we need to keep an eye on as we keep an eye here on the pass. Timothy Vaughan. It looks like that might not have... Oh, that was deep. That was very deep there from Bailey Evans, but he got it pulled up and well, tried to come back at him, did Tim Vaughan, but not much room was given. Looks like a car slow there. Harry Lawrence, I think he might be serving a slowdown there, pulling out of the draft. Looks like he served it in time on the way into Sunset Bend. No black flags on the position ticker on my end.
No, me either, Reese, which was strange. I looked for it as soon as you mentioned it, and there's no black flag on my end either. So, I don't know, potentially a bad run off the corner, I'm not too sure. But we've got someone else in the lane, Brady Carr, I believe, in the 69 machine. So this will be interesting, depending on start of lap 11 from the hard tyre. We'll see what he changes to. Well, does he go for a soft tyre middle stint, or does he save it to the end? We'll have to see what he does. Yeah,
we certainly will. Keeping an eye on Aidan Luthwaite, meanwhile, in the clutches of Ben Johnson. The 7 versus the 727 on the way into the hairpin. Johnson pulls out, has a little look. Again, it's a psychological game. You want to move around in the braking zone to try and unsettle your rival. Brady Carr jumps out of the pit lane, and he is on the soft tyre there. So, middle stint. Brady Carr is one of the drivers to watch.
Yeah, he will be using that tyre to his advantage throughout this middle stint. Just looking at Bradley. Oh, we've got a spinner off in the background. It's Mark Cochran, who is still on the Red Bull tyres from the beginning of the race. So maybe those tyres have just completely fallen away. He is calling to race control, though, so we might have to see if there was any contact in behind, and looks like there might have been from Dean Jacobson. No, apologies, it was Jordan Ferguson. So we'll have to try and queue up a replay if we can. Producer Jay.
Yeah, so looks like Cochran didn't have a very good run out of the hairpin. Bit of wheel spin and onto the grass, and unfortunately Ferguson tried to go through, made contact as he was doing so, and Cochran got spun around as a result of that. Real shame to see. So it'll be interesting to see what race control's decision on that is. Meanwhile, pass into turn 1. Joe Mahoney He's still on the soft tyre, but you can see that he's struggling for grip here as the hard compound runners are fighting to get back past him.
Oh.
And there we go. Mahoney makes contact with Reese Margetts.
Yeah, it looks like the rear end just kicked out there for Mahoney. Unfortunately, just nothing left in those red wall tyres. Unfortunately, gets into Margetts. And unfortunately, that sent him way down the field as well. So, I'll give up a replay if we can. So, was Mahoney, Margetts, I believe Harry Lawrence is involved too. He's got rear wing damage as well, Harry Lawrence. So, coming in to turn number 3 up here on the exit of 3. Watch Mahoney's rear end. Kicks out on the exit, straight into Margetts, and then Harry Lawrence gets collected as well by, I can't pick up who that was, but it was maybe Thomas Hinds was the last car in there. And there's Harry Lawrence, rear wing completely gone. There is a fast repair available in this race, so I would assume that Harry Lawrence would come into the pit lane, get his first pit stop done, and get that car fixed up for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, I'd assume so too. But it's a shame when incidents like that happen. It's all down to power losing the rear end, and it's a very tight section of the circuit as well. There's not much you can do if your rival spins around the outside of you going into that sequence of corners. So a bit of a lull in the action. The incident is under review from race control, and it looks like we're going to be seeing him go for the pit lane just to get that rear wing repaired. Meanwhile, Cameron Dance in pit lane. 12 laps complete on the hard compound tyre. Let's see if he switches to the soft in the middle stint for a run once again at the likes of Bailey Evans and Daniel Edmonds. As everyone comes into the pits, you keep an eye out for Daniel Benefield as well. The drop bear number 34 is going to be moving up the order here now on the hard compound tyre. And Cameron Dance has stayed on the hard compound coming out of the pits here. So he's going to be saving his soft compound for the final pit stop. Look out for Cameron Dance in the last few laps.
Yeah, certainly, Dance. I think that's probably the best strategy to take, is use the softer tyre at the end. Where you want the speed is right at the end of the race to make you move. So, interesting enough, he's a little bit behind Benefield, but he did have those red tyres at the start of the race. Benefield now got on the hard tyres, so be interesting to see if he goes back to the red tyres at the end. But remember, he won't be able to go as long as what Dance did, because he pitted quite a few laps earlier, so be interesting to see what 34 Benefield does do later in the race. But the battle for second on screen still continuing. Bailey Evans, Timmy Vaughan and James Glasspool battle for second place a long way down the road back from Daniel Edmonds in the 84 machine. So a lot to play out still for the podium positions at the moment, but still all provisional with these guys yet to take a pit stop still.
Yeah, but Daniel Edmonds hasn't lost any of his pace, has he? He was the fastest car on track last time by and sets another mid-42, while everyone behind him cannot get close. They're running high 42s to even mid-42s in this pack for second. So Daniel Edmonds definitely in tune with the car here today. Of course, it's in the league title. Fixed Indy Australia. Every driver's running the exact same setup. Cameron Dance and now Daniel Edmonds on the push to pass. Edmonds trying to increase the gap. Cameron Dance trying to make up some time. Remember, the battle for second currently on track is where Cameron Dance is going to filter out once those guys take their stops. So if he wants to get an advantage, start using that push to pass now.
And one thing we haven't really talked about either, Reece, is how much fuel they got to drop in as well. Just been told on the back end that Reese Margetts' stop was about 18 seconds long, so wasn't sure if he took a lot more fuel than compared to Daniel Benefield. His pit stop was only 8 seconds, so potentially Margetts,
too.
It could have been as well. So, but with the fast repair, you wouldn't think it would take an extra 10 seconds. Don't have all the information, but potentially maybe took a bit more fuel to have a shorter stop at the end. So we'll have to see how Reese Margetts plays out. Unfortunately, he did get caught up in that incident earlier, so not sure if he did have too much damage. That took an extra bit of time, but we'll have to keep an eye out on that driver throughout the back end of the race.
It looks to me like Margetts didn't take his fast repair. There's still some damage to the right side of his car, I've just noticed. So potentially was trying to get some of that damage repaired manually. Try and save his fast repair for the final stint. Meanwhile, the leader is in. Daniel Edmonds comes into the lane and he's followed in by Bailey Evans. Timothy Vaughan will take the lead of the race. James Glasspool, the one of the last of the Simrings.com DPR cars to make a pit stop. Ryan Jones, of course, out there for DPR as well. He is moving up into 4th place now and still on the opening stint of tyres here. We shall see when he decides to come in, potentially at the same time as Glasspool. Brady Carr, meanwhile, drop bear number 69. He is on the soft compound tyre, and he is going to potentially be setting the timing screens alight here. Ben Johnson making his stop. He is gone for the Reds as well, so look out for some pace from him. Depends on if he can come out in a gap to take advantage of that pace. He's actually going to come out very close here to the likes of
Joey Mahoney?
Yeah, Mahoney, yes. Joe Mahoney. Meanwhile, look at that. Daniel Edmonds coming out of the pits. Less than a second ahead of Daniel Benefield. So this is very interesting. Benefield has been taking good advantage of those hard compound tyres, got them up to temperature nice and quickly, and he has got some big pace now. Remember, tyre warmers are not used in IndyCar, so Edmonds is going to have a disadvantage here on his first couple of laps out of the pits.
Yeah, Benefield's made really good ground since he pitted off those Red Bull tyres on the end of lap 8 he pitted, so pitted quite a few laps ago. Edmonds just coming out of the pit lanes, so Benefield's straight in behind him, and the into turn 3 on lap 12 that we picked up earlier will be a post-race investigation. So obviously the officials want to look at that a little bit further, which I don't blame them for, because there's quite a bit going on in that, as Vaughan, Glasspool, Luthwaite and Jones all entered the pit lane. So I don't think there'll be too many guys remaining still yet to take their first pit stop race.
Yeah, we also see Tyson Broad, Sam Katakuzanos, Atsushi Osafune, Dean Jacobson and Jordan Ferguson on their way into the lane. I'd expect Brad Wingard to jump in there too, along with Robert Baxter. They're probably reaching the end of the fuel tank mileage, 14 laps into this race. Or 16 laps rather, now that the leaders have crossed the line here. So out comes Ryan Jones in 14th place. Doesn't have anyone to battle with at the moment, but does have the fight between Johnson and Mahoney ahead of him. And look at that, Harry Lawrence and Aidan Luthwaite ahead of them. Luthwaite having just come out of the pits. This might potentially slow up the battle between Johnson and Mahoney and allow Jones an opportunity to gain some time.
I'm just looking at the ticker standings now, race that it's pretty sure the field is all cleansed out now after the first round of pit stops. Scotty Rankin is up to P8 from starting 16th. Remember, he started on the Red Bull alternate tyre, so use that to his advantage. He's already up to P8. So fantastic drive so far for Rankin, but the one downside, he has used 4 of his push to passes already. Okay, the guy 2 positions back, Harry Lawrence, hasn't even used one yet. So might be a little bit disadvantaged later on in the race. I think you'll have to go a little bit longer in this second stint on those prime tyres to try and get back on the Red Bull tyres for the end of the race, because I'm pretty sure most of the field, if not all the field, will be on the Red Bulls at the end of the race.
Yeah, I would expect that. Thomas Hins, meanwhile, fancying a catch-up to James Glasspool. Still quite a gap between the two of them, but any advantage you can gain now is one that will pay off towards the end. So with the pit stop cycle complete, the top 3 are Edmonds, Benefield and Dance. Now Cameron has quite a bit of time to make up, as that's very close to the wall there for Aidan Luthwaite. Ben Johnson will fancy a move into turn 1, but it's blocked by Luthwaite, as Harry Lawrence will continue to jet away from these two. Round the outside of turn 1 goes Ben Johnson. Nicely done indeed. Johnson, of course, on the red-walled soft compound tyre, and that is the pace advantage you get in the first 3 laps after the stop.
Yeah, certainly hasn't been slowing. Is that Ben Johnson? It is.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, the 727, really off the pace. Did he pick up a slowdown potentially?
No.
No.
Really? No, I saw push to pass active on the ticker there. Maybe he accidentally hit his pit limiter when going for the push to pass.
Potentially, I've done that before, so I can't talk, but potentially that is the thing. If he's got buttons set close to each other and he's accidentally bumped the pit limiter, potentially that's probably a really good pickup race, that one.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll find out post-race if that was indeed the case. We keep an eye on the battle for 10th. Meanwhile, just up ahead, Lawrence and Luthwaite. Now Mahoney is by Ben Johnson, thanks to what we presume was a button press in error from the drop bear 727. This is a very intense fight for the last position in the top 10, and you see that Brady Carr is looking to get away from that even further. There's another push to pass there for Johnson. Will he be able to make his way past Mahoney here at the end of the Ullman Straight? 60 extra horsepower through that twin-turbo V6, and he is through into the final turn.
Looks like Robbie Baxter as well is going in for, I believe, his black flag for Robbie Baxter, so potentially has he had damage?
Speeding in pit lane.
Oh,
that's unfortunate there.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so either he entered too fast or he got off the pit limiter too early at the end of pit lane. That's unfortunate there for Robbie Baxter. But the black flag is complete and he can move back out. Unfortunately, he is down in the just off the lead lap here, and it looks like Brodie Shepherd's going to be the only driver he'll be battling with for the time being. Keeping an eye on the DPR cars meanwhile. These are James Glasspool and Bailey Evans, very close at the moment. Glasspool, remember, was running in second for some time, now down into sixth. He's not gone onto the soft compound tyres just yet, neither has Evans, so keep that in mind. Wondering if it didn't quite go to plan for Glasspool through the pit stop phase.
And just having a look back up the front race, Daniel Edmonds, his gap when he came out of the pits compared to Benefield, was 1.2 seconds. He's now stretched that out to 2.2 seconds, so obviously Benefield, using that new tyre advantage, didn't quite work out. Edmonds has picked up the pace a little bit and stretched out that lead another second in the last couple of laps. So looks like Daniel Edmonds definitely the guy to beat here tonight, doing a really good job out in front, but still one more pit stop to take place. So still a lot to play out for. Cameron Dance back in third, probably 3 seconds behind Benefield, and pretty close between Vaughan, Evans and Glasspool in for the top 6, and then about 4 seconds back to Hinds in P7. So still a lot to play out, and guys will be going on different compounds in the last stint. So still a lot to play out in this one race. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep, 35 lap race and 17 laps to go. We have passed the halfway point of round 1 of Fixed Indy Australia, and things are starting to get a little difficult here for Daniel Edmonds. Lapped car, Mark Cochran. He did say pass right on the InSim text chat, so letting him go through tower turn. So that might have cost Daniel Edmonds just a little bit of time there. Benefield's starting to gain on him. He will have the slipstream of Cochran to contend with here, but will he be slowed up coming through Le Mans? Looks like he will. Has to back off a little bit. Might get on the push to pass to minimize the disadvantage here. No, actually, he won't do that. Benefield content to reserve his push to passes for the last stint of the race.
So Benefield still, he's closed up quite a bit on that lap, maybe using that slipstream from Cochran. It's down to 1.6 seconds the gap, 42.8 compared to a 43.5 to Daniel Edmonds. So nice lap there from Daniel Benefield in the 34, making up that ground to potentially challenge Edmonds at the end of the race. Still back to Dance in P3 as Timothy Vaughan runs a little bit wide there at turn 1. Still the battle on for P5 between the teammates Glasspool and Bailey Evans. They haven't really left each other alone all race long, and they'll be battling for P number 5, and Glasspool has actually got the move done on Bailey Evans, so he'll move to position number 5 and try and push on to try and catch the Vermilion Motorsport machine of Timothy Vaughan.
And remember, both of these drivers still have yet to use the soft tyres. This is where the move was done for Glasspool, slipstream down the front straight. And it's a nice wide entry to turn 1 at Sebring. If you can get to the inside and maintain momentum, you will get the move done, and that's exactly what happened. I think a little bit of teammate respect there as well. Evans recognizing that Glasspool was faster and deciding not to fight it too hard on the way through turn 1. Now, the numbers that you saw on the lower third between Edmonds and Benefield just a little bit earlier were the push-to-passes left. Edmonds has used 2, and Benefield has only used 1 of his push-to-passes so far. I'm keeping an eye on Benefield, and we should wait for him to just use up all of that extra power in the last stint of the race. 16 laps to go here at Sebring. Another push to pass from Ben Johnson in 12th as he tries to catch up to Aidan Luthwaite. Remember, Johnson has to make up a lot of time after his presumed mistake earlier. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones and Joe Mahoney fighting hard. Looks like Jones has just made the pass there on the number 36.
Yeah, nice move there for Jones in the 11. Up to 13th position now, trying to hold off Mahoney. And we've seen the push passes remaining. We can confirm Scott Rankin is trigger happy. He's only got 5 remaining. So much love to you, Scott. But yes, you are a little bit trigger happy. But hey, he's up to position number 8, so he's doing a fantastic job. He's holding off a lot of really fast guys in behind him. Brady Carr, Harry Lawrence not too far away. So hopefully he's got enough to hold him off and get another good result.
Yeah, the question is, does Rankin have enough of an advantage that he'll be able to defend from those who have push-to-passes in reserve? Up at the hairpin, making their way past Mark Cochran down in 24th place, a lap down. Both of the DPR cars of Evans and Glasspool. Jones, meanwhile, on the push-to-pass as well in 13th. He's looking to get away from Joe Mahoney now after making the move on him at this specific corner a lap ago. Johnson still battling with Aidan Luthwaite. Potential for them to slow each other up and allow Jones a chance to move forward.
Yeah, Jones is moving through the field side, position number 17, up to 13th now. Mahoney, unfortunately, was one of the guys that started on the red alternate tyres. He started in position number 9. Unfortunately, the night really hasn't gone his way. He's down to 14th, so he'll be looking to try and make up some more ground. There's the biggest movers of the race, and Scotty Rankin, as we mentioned, plus 8 Benefield, plus 5. He's up to 2nd and still closing in on Daniel Edmonds for the race lead. Jones and Broad each up 4 positions. So a few big movers throughout the field, and touching on Benefield once again, and Rankin once again trigger happy. There's 4 to go.
All right, space them out now, Scotty. You still got to defend from the likes of Carr, Lawrence, Luthwaite, Johnson and Jones behind you. Bit of time in hand, but it could all come undone in the last few laps. The gap for the lead is back down to 1 second. Daniel Benefield has really switched on, hasn't he? He's taking advantage of the pace that he's got right now. Edmonds doesn't have as many laps as Benefield on the hard compound tyre, but they should be up to temperature. He's not quite taking advantage, I think, as much as he'd want. And remember, Benefield could still go onto the softer compound in the final stint. Daniel Edmonds will have to go onto the soft compound at his next stop.
Yeah, so I presume they'll both be on the soft tyre at the end. It'll just depend on how much fuel they've got to take for the last stop. As Grant Matterford, he's the first guy to come in for his second pit stop. Remember, he started on the alternate tyres at the start of the race, so he's going to go 14 laps to the end on his primary tyres. Be very interesting to see what plays out between these top 2. They've skipped away from Cameron Danson P3, about a 3.6 second gap from the 34 of Benefield back to the reigning champ number 1 Cam Dance. So looks like at the moment it's a 2-horse race out in front, but still 1 pit stop to play out. Still all up in the air what could happen in the last 13 laps this time by.
So looks like Benefield has lost out a bit to Edmonds here as he's actually going for his final pit stop early there. He has followed Grant Matterford into the lane. So let's see what tyres he decides to go on. His pace looked really good on the primary tyre. I would expect that he'll stay with it considering how long there is to go in the race. We'll have to wait and see as there's a flurry of pit stops going on through the field. Scott Rankin and Brady Carr making their way into the lane, and they will be joined by Ryan Jones and Joe Mahoney.
For you guys now in the box, Benefield, the one to watch out for. He's coming out of the lane now. Still Rankin, Carr, Jones. There's a lot of guys in the lane at the moment. Pretty quick stop for Benefield as well. And picking up Benefield is on the hard tyre.
He is,
for the last stint. So very interesting there for Benefield to go onto the hard tyre. Is that a car off in the background there, Reese? It is.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, Johnson, the 727, has had a moment exiting turn number 5, lost the rear end, unfortunately onto the grass, and he lost quite a few positions out of that, unfortunately. So not going his way for the driver of the 727.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, he tried to go on the alternate tyre in the middle stint of the race, and unfortunately all the grip's gone. I think he might have been distracted a little bit there by the car going through turn 5 there. Just got on the power a little bit too hard. And he's still under pressure now from Sam Katakuzanos coming into Tower Turn. Sam K gets on the brakes, tries to hold the inside, gives a little bump to Johnson on the way through. And Benjamin has to yield. Might have to yield to Atsushi Osafune as well, who's on a nicely heated up soft compound tyre here. But not much left to do until they get to the end of the Almond Straight. Will Atsushi make use of his push to pass? The only international driver in the field hailing from Japan in a field of Aussies and Kiwis. Let's see how well he does. So, pit stop time comparison there. Mahoney only stopped for 1.2 seconds. That's not enough time to get the tyres changed. Ryan Jones, 3.9 seconds. That's a very quick stop. Brady Carr, 4.8. 10.2 seconds for Scott Rankin. So he's lost out a bit, and he is still on the primary tyre after spending 9 laps on the soft compound in the first stint of the race.
I think that might be wrong because I'm watching Joe Mahoney's pit stop right now, and it was definitely longer than 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
I
so
think it was probably closer to what Brady Carr did, about 5 or 6 seconds. He did change from the primary to the alternate tyre as well. So definitely a pit stop change, just maybe a little bit of a glitch there in the timing, but it was probably about 5 or 6 seconds.
Righto. Okay, so forget everything that I just said there. Yeah, looks like more regular pit stops for all of the drivers involved, as we have 12 laps to go here. Let's have a look at the DPR pair of Glasspool and Evans. Look who they've got chasing them down. Thomas Hins, who, remember, started in 10th place and is now looking to make a couple more in the Team Jinx Shifters, number 52. Another one of the drivers that has yet to use the soft compound tyre here. And look at how many push to passes he has left there. That's 6, I believe, there. No, 7. Push to pass is the one just to the left on the numbers down on the bottom of the dashboard. So 7 remaining there for Thomas Hens. Will he use another one is the big question. Chasing down these DPR teammates for a potential position in the top 5.
And Daniel Benefield, he was pitted about 2 laps ago. He pitted. He's down in 10th position now, 33 seconds off the lead. So we'll have to see where everyone else comes out. Reese Margetts, remember, he took a very long pit stop in the first one. We believe was repairing the car without taking the fast repair. So we'll see where he comes out. I believe he's a fair way behind the leaders where he was at the start of the race, which is a shame because he had really good pace. They were on qualified position number 4, and he's changed from the primary tyre to the Red Bull alternate tyres. So, and also Jordan Ferguson in the 17 as well in the pit lane.
An 8.5 second stop for Margetts, with Ferguson 7.7 seconds stopped, and he's back on the primary compound tyre. Let's keep an eye on this battle then. James Glasspool, 143.4 on the last lap, 142.6 for Thomas Hins. And that's interesting to see because Thomas Hinz has actually been on his current set of tyres a lap longer than James Glasspool has. So plenty of speed in the Jinx Shifters 52 coming into turn 1. Looks like the times have equalised a bit between these three. Hinz running a 42.7, Evans and Glasspool only within a tenth of that. Meanwhile, Cam Dance is working the car quite hard here. Keep an eye on the wheel as he turns into the hairpin here. Remember, he's running effective third right now. He's got a lot of time to make up if he wants to try and win this first round. It is really between Edmonds and Benefield, and remember, Edmonds has yet to take his final stop.
Yeah, if we get to talk to Cam after the race, it'll be interesting to talk about how much force feedback he's running in this car, because it looks like he's running quite a lot. You can see down the straight the wheel's shaking nearly uncontrollably, probably due to the track being so bumpy as well, but it looks like he's running a lot of force feedback through that wheel race. So it'd be interesting to maybe ask him post-race if he's running a lot more than what he would in another car that he would typically race, because, yeah, it looks pretty violent out there for him.
Yeah, another thing to take into account is that Indy cars don't have power steering. Most cars on iRacing do, so that could be another element to what we're seeing from Cam Dance. Obviously looking a bit shiny in the forehead, a lot of sweat going through him at the moment as he tries to keep that car on the straight and narrow coming through Sunset Bend. Big bump coming under the bridge. You don't want to be too wide for that. Into the pits he comes, and Dance will switch to the alternate tyre here. How much of an advantage is he going to get over Benefield and Edmonds from there? The battle's still continuing between Evans, Glasspool and Hinz, and looks like the advantage is still in Hinz's hands here. The two teammates trying to stay ahead here of the solo Team Jinx Shifters machine.
Benefield coming around the final corner right now. Dance has left his pit box, so it's going to be very close between these two drivers. Remember, Dance is on the red wall alternate tyre. It's going to be very, very close on the exit, and Benefield's just going to get it done by about 10 car lengths over Cam Dance. But remember, Cam is on the red wall alternate tyre, which is the faster tyre of the two. So he's going to make hay in his first few laps, try and get past Daniel Benefield, and then hope that the red tyre does hold on towards the end of the race and can hold him off, because this is effective for position number 2 in this race.
Yeah, Benefield now in the middle of the stint. The tyres will be up to temperature. Cam needs to get those tyres up to temp as soon as he can. Remember, tyres start ice cold in IndyCar. There are no tyre warmers in this category of motor racing, but the red compound tyre is certainly going to get up to temp a lot quicker than the primary. Hinz is continuing to close in on James Glasspool meanwhile and hit the apex of Le Mans a lot better. Evans on the push to pass, Hinz on the push to pass as well. Are we going to see a move here on the Simrigs DPR 979 coming into Sunset Bend? We will indeed. Glasspool doesn't fight back. Hinz is through for position. Remember, all of these guys have to make their pit stop. Hinz decides, okay, I've made the move, now it's time. Glasspool says, all right, I'm going to follow you in.
And also Timothy Vaughan from P3 on the road. Well, sorry, P2 on the road will come into lane as well. So Edmund's still out on track, so is Bailey Evans. Now, this is Benefield and Dance. Look at Dance on the red wall tyre. Around the outside on Sunset Bend. Full commitment. Going back to his dirt background there, Cam Dance just fully centered in the final corner. Benefield goes defensive into turn 1. Will Dance go around the outside? He will get it done. Will he get it pulled up on the exit? And he will. And right in behind them, as well as Timothy Vaughan. So he's run this fight as well. He's on the red wall tyre. So maybe watch out for Timothy Vaughan in the Vermilion machine to try and pounce here on Benefield, who's still battling Cameron Dance side by side. We're at the first sector of this lap. So some fantastic racing here for effective second on the road in behind Daniel Edmonds. They're still side by side coming into the hairpin at turn 7. I think Dance will have it done, but now here comes Timothy Vaughan.
Oh, a little bit of wheel spin for Vaughan there. He was briefly a part of that battle. He's going to have to wait a few more corners. Benefield was getting a bit desperate in that defense, wasn't he? Saw that Cam was easily faster on the softer tyres and was fighting back with the push to pass. It was unsuccessful. So Cameron Dance now effective second in this race. Daniel Edmonds has started using his push to passes, and it looks like he was using it on the in-lap to try and gain as much of an advantage as he can. Minimize the disadvantage by going slower on the way into the pits. Edmonds is through, and we'll see just how much is put through the suspension of these cars through Sunset Bend. That's amazing stuff there from Cam Dance, and good car control as well. So Evans has followed Edmonds in, and now Edmonds, the race leader for pretty much the whole of this race, coming in and putting the alternate compound on. Looks like Benefield's advantage that he gained early on is quickly vanishing as round the outside goes Timothy Vaughan. He's trying to get Benefield here side by side as Edmonds is already out of the pits and keeps the race lead. And there goes Vaughan up the inside into turn one. Benefield can do nothing to defend on the now worn out hard compound. Look at this battle. Meanwhile, Rankin, Mahoney and Broad all on push to pass coming into Sunset Bend. This is a very tight battle. Mahoney on the outside here. Broad gets it done. Scott Rankin back on the push to pass again. He's rapidly running out of those and he won't have anything left to defend with soon.
And that's Ryan Jones in the background as well. Sorry to cut you off, Reese. Got into the wall on the exit of the final corner. I believe it was Ryan Jones. It looked like one of the DPR cars. It is. Left front suspension ripped out of the number 11 machine. Was running just outside the top 10 and looks like it was a mistake on the final corner. I'm going to try and pick it up on my end. Yep, he just got the rear end loose and straight into the tyre barrier on the exit of Sunset Bend. So massive damage for Ryan Jones. Question is, will he be able to get it around to the pit lane or will we have a late race safety car?
Yeah, that is the question. There goes Tyson Broad, meanwhile, up the inside of Scott Rankin, who spins up the wheels on the exit of that turn. Replay on the bottom of the screen for Ryan Jones. That's a spin for Glasspool on live pictures. Jones, meanwhile, just catching a bump wrong there on the exit of the final turn, and that's the reason why we saw him damaged. James Glasspool, though, that's a big problem for him after, he was trying his best to get further up the field. And unfortunately, it has all gone wrong for him on the soft tyres as well. Meanwhile, looks like a problem here for Brad Wingard. Car was massively unsettled on the way through Sunset Bend. Oh, lordy. Righto. Who was that? Yeah, who was that was with him at the time there? It looked like one of the DPR cars.
Yeah, it definitely did look like one of the DPR. Maybe Reese Margetts, I believe. Yeah. He's down in 20th, so I believe it was him. But yeah, massive moment there for Wingard. And also Glasspool, I just picked up that he picked up the curb wrong on the inside at turn number 13 at Tower Corner. And that's what threw the car into a slide and unfortunately lost a few positions down to P7 now. About 11 seconds behind Thomas Hinds. And this is the replay of Glasspool. Watch him race on the inside curb. Just gets a little bit wrong, gets the car unsettled. Unfortunately has that spin. Managed to keep it going though, but he's down to P7. And just looking at the timing, Daniel Edmonds 7 seconds up the road from Cameron Dance at P2. So he's got this race virtually wrapped up if he can keep it on the black stuff. With 5 laps to go this time by Cameron Dance in a pretty comfortable second. But Timothy Vaughan only 0.8 of a second in behind him, both on the red wall alternate tyre. So they're pulling away from Benefield, who's dropped back nearly 2 seconds from Vaughan already. So struggling a little bit for pace there, 34 of Daniel Benefield.
Yeah, he's only got about 4 seconds in hand over the battle for 5th between Evans and Hinds. Both of those drivers are on the soft tyres as well. Evans using the push to pass to decrease the gap. So that's the that was the lead for Daniel Edmonds. This is currently Daniel Benefield that's Evans and Hinds. The push to pass being used very early on. Brady Carr, you see, only has 2 push to passes left. Scott Rankin only has 1, and he's down in 13th place right now. Meanwhile, Cameron Dance, he's only used 1 push to pass all race. He is saving them up for the final few laps. How much of an advantage will he gain? And meanwhile, Sam Katakouzanos has not used a single push to pass all race long. Down in 17th place, trying to pass Atsushi Osafune here for 16th spot. Atsushi has only got 2 push-to-passes left, so Sam K is the one with the advantage there.
Yeah, I think Cameron Dan's back to him, only using 1 push-to-pass so far. I think he's going to have to use it pretty soon because Timothy Vaughan has got some mega pace in behind him at the moment, pitted a little bit later than Dance did on those red wall tyres, and he's certainly making hay, coming right down to the back of Dance in these last few laps. Dance is about 8 seconds in behind Edmonds, so I don't think, even with all those push-to-passes, he'll have enough to catch Daniel Edmonds, but I think he'll have to use it to try and hold off the 74 of Vaughan because he's got mega pace at the moment.
Yeah, certainly has. Vaughan using another one of his push-to-passes here. Dance is going to have to respond. There's only 5 laps to go here. And, well, there's plenty of opportunities for Dance now to use those push-to-passes. He can use it twice a lap and potentially keep the advantage over Vaughan if he drives it properly. But Dance has 1 more lap on these soft tyres than Vaughan does. Timothy with a little bit more tyre left in the car. Lawrence and Carr, meanwhile, using more push-to-passes. So does Tyson Broad in the battle for the top 10 with Brady Carr. Still quite a bit of space in between those machines, though. Here comes Timothy Vaughan. And I think, yep, there we go. Another push-to-pass there. But Dance is going to defend into the hairpin here. And he still doesn't respond. No push-to-pass usage there for the Orbit Motorsport #1, the reigning series champion on the defensive into the hairpin. Vaughan with the outside line is able to get a straighter exit than Dance does. And there we go. Finally, the response now from Cameron Dance to try and keep second place. Does he go up the inside into Collier Curve? He does indeed. You can hold the outside line through this corner, and that's exactly what Vaughan is doing. But Dance has the inside now for Tower Turn. Again, not quite the place you want to be on the exit. There could be a response here from Vaughan, but no. They will stay the same there, coming into Gendebien and Le Mans. Does Vaughan use another one of his push-to-passes, or does he have enough momentum for an inside move here? Dance, steadfast. He has got racecraft on his side. We always see Cameron Dance doing this sort of stuff. He's one of the staunchest defenders in Australia and New Zealand. And there we go. No push to pass, though. It looks like Vaughan might just get it here into Sunset Bend.
He ran a little bit wide, Timothy Vaughan. I think I overran the last corner just a little bit. He's now down to 1 push to pass. Cameron Dance still got 8 up his sleeve with 3 laps to go. So I think it's still advantage Dance. Even if Timothy Vaughan does get in front, Cameron Dance will have the advantage of having all those push to passes up his sleeve. All this battling, though, will slowly bring in Daniel Benefield, but I don't think he quite has the pace, although that last lap he was about a second quicker than Timothy Vaughan with all that battling. So maybe watch out for Benefield. If he gets close enough, and these two keep battling, Benefield might be within a shout for a podium.
Yeah, potentially, but keep an eye on the last lap. Bailey Evans was a second faster than Daniel Benefield on the previous lap, and Benefield responding with another push-to-pass use there. But Benefield is now on 10-lap-old prime tyres. Bailey Evans on 4-lap-old alternates, so that's still big advantage for Bailey Evans. Meanwhile, Brady Carr in the 69 has no push-to-passes left, and his teammate Tyson Broad at Drop Bear Motorsports still has a few left in hand here. Meanwhile, Joe Mahoney fighting hard there. No, sorry, that's Harry Lawrence. My apologies. Has just made his way past Aidan Luthwaite. And Luthwaite trying his best to hold on here with only 2 push-to-passes left. Lawrence, obviously the faster on average, has had a few opportunities to use the push-to-pass, but hasn't taken all of them so far.
No, he's been pretty smart with them. Harry Lawrence, he's saving it right for them. And look at Benefield, and he's both on the push-to-pass down the Ullman straight as well. Hinds in P6, Benefield in P4. And we just talked about Benefield closing in on the 2nd and 3rd place battle. So maybe he's using that to try and make up that ground, or try and get away from Evans, who's got some fantastic speed at the moment, the 221 machine. We've got 2 laps to go this time by, and we haven't really talked about Daniel Edmonds. Probably a good thing because he's that far out in front. It's over 11-second lead for Daniel Edmonds. He's a league of his own, but it's quite a vigorous battle here, still for position number 2 between Dance and Vaughan.
Yep, and the battle's still continuing for 4th place between Benefield and Evans. So here comes Benefield making another push-to-pass move. Neither Dance nor Vaughan using push-to-pass. There's only one left for Timothy. Cameron Dance, a little bit of wheel spin on the way out of the hairpin. That will give the advantage to Vaughan on the way into Collier Curve. And Dance is going to leave the door open on the inside. Vaughan not taking advantage, though. He's going to wait for a clearer opportunity to get by into second. This has been a fantastic fight.
It certainly has, Reece. It's been playing out this whole last stint between these two guys. We've seen Vaughan had the pace when he blew by Dennefield, and he caught right up to Cameron Dance, and these guys have been going at it for the last 5 or 6 laps, it feels like, and coming up to the last lap this time by, and it's still going on. Remember, Cameron Dance on screen still has 8 push-to-passes left to use. I'm sure he'll probably use one here, so I don't think he'll use 8 in one lap. There's Vaughan on the push-to-pass, his last one in this race. Benefield, Evans, hands all on the push-to-pass. Dance is the only one not to use it, but he's still got 8 left to use on this final lap. And Dance, again, very aggressive into the braking zone. Down the inside, he's going to make Vaughan go around the outside, and there's Dance on the push to pass. He'll get that advantage down this front straight, taking the white flag. It's still going on for P number 2 here, Reece.
Yeah, can Dance hold on here? Vaughan has to slot in behind on the way into turn 1. You notice that Dance didn't get a very good exit from Le Mans, and combined with the push to pass from Vaughan, it was once again looked like an easy move for Vaughan coming into Sunset Bend, but Dance is just so aggressive on the brakes. Might have dialed the brake bias all the way back to shorten the braking zones. But everyone's on push to pass now. Benefield using it up. Vaughan has no push to passes left. Cameron Dance has 6 remaining. He can use that up to 3 times, I think, over the course of this final lap. So not much of a response that Vaughan will have. And he has to keep an eye out for Benefield, potentially for Evans as well, on the way into Collier Curve. There's no catching Daniel Edmonds out the front of the field. He's burning off his push to passes just to get the best advantage he can. And here we go, coming into Jean de Bienne and Le Mans for our leader on the bottom of your screen. Up top, the battle's still on for second. Can Daniel Benefield have a final run down the Ullman Straight and make it happen on Timothy Vaughan to get back on the podium here? Some lap cars for Daniel Edmonds, but I don't think they should be too much trouble. It's Grant Matterford and Ben Johnson, the battle for the last position in the top 20. Final corner for simrigs.com DPR number 84. Daniel Edmonds is going to be the first race winner of Fixed Indy Australia Season 2 with an absolutely dominant performance to take the win by over 13 seconds here over Cameron Dance, who's going to hold off Timothy Vaughan for the last spot on the podium. Benefield just didn't have enough in his tyres in that final stint.
Yeah, some fantastic racing throughout the top 5 there. Daniel Edmonds, a class of his own, but it's still going on in the background here for the last positions just out inside the top 10. Sorry, it's Ryan Jones, who, it's a lap down, unfortunately for Jones, in behind Luthwaite, who will finish position number 8, and in the background looks like Brady Carr. Tyson Broad's actually got the move done on Brady Carr for position number 10. Still going on between Baxter and Jacobson. This is for position number 14 on the road, and Baxter looks like he will hold it on into the final corner. We'll take it nice and narrow. Here comes Jacobson though, trying to force the issue on the inside, but and Jacobson's lost it. I'm thirsty.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's going to be the end of it there. Peter Baxter will cross the line in 14th place. The number 10 of Dean Jacobson ultimately crossing the line in 17th spot. Reese Margetts, meanwhile, in 18th after what could have been a top 5 performance. But what more can you say about Daniel Edmonds? It has been a magnificent drive from him. He will get maximum championship points out of this first round. He has the win. He has the fastest lap. He had pole position as well. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, fantastic drive again from Edmonds. Just really did it quite easily. A little bit of pressure at the start of the race, but after that he got in his rhythm and checked out from the field, as you touched on, 13-second victory for the number 84 machine. So fantastic way to start off the season for him. A really dominant display, and he's going to be the man to beat throughout this championship. As we see our results after 35 laps here at Sebring International Raceway. Daniel Edmonds for simrigs.com DPR, 13-second win over Cameron Dance in position number 2, closely followed by Timothy Vaughan rounding out the podium. Daniel Benefield in position number 4. Bailey Evans Rounding out the top 5, again for simrigs.com DPR, Thomas Hinds, position number 6, Harry Lawrence in 7th, James Glasspool. Unfortunately, that spin cost him a few spots late in the piece. Will finish position number 8, Aidan Luthwaite will finish 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is the 27 of Tyson Broad.
In 11th place, Brady Carr, number 69, losing 3 spots. Same for Joe Mahoney, who comes home in 12th. Scott Rankin, he used the push to passes quite aggressively early on, and that netted him a 13th place finish, up 3 places. Baxter and Katakuzanos, 6 spots up each to 14th and 15th. Atsushi Yosafune just missing out on getting into the top 15, but did hold off Dean Jacobson, who spun out of the final corner. Reese Marr gets an 18th spot, down 14. He will be heartbroken after the unfortunate contact out of turn 3 that put him out of that position. Jordan Ferguson, the last finisher on the lead lap, with Ben Johnson coming home in 20th spot. 1 lap down on the field. Same for Grant Matterford. No, unfortunately, no. My apologies. They did finish just ahead of our leader. So Matterford, the last finisher on the lead lap. Ryan Jones, a lap down after a spin out of the final corner. Robbie Baxter and Brody Shepherd, 2 laps down. Remember, Shepherd was the crash that brought out the one and only safety car of this race. Mark Cochran and Bradley Wingard, 6 laps down. Heavy damage for the both of them. And, well, regardless, apart from that, looks to me like all of our drivers that started the race finished it. We only had 1 appearance from Daniel Yeaman's McLaren 570S safety car in the first round of fixed Indy Australia. Next round, of course, is going to be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road layout here, to take off our second round here, Brady. And look at that enormous curb at the bottom of the screen. I'm guessing we'll have at least a few incidents to talk about as a result of that.
Yeah, I think so, Reese. Turn 1's very tight entrance in there, and obviously that big curb. We've seen what curbs were doing to other cars tonight here at Sebring. Completely different layout as well. Indy Road Course, obviously you got the oval portion of the circuit to start the lap and to end the lap as well. So very interesting racing. Obviously a more traditional IndyCar layout. So I think it's going to be some more fantastic racing in 2 weeks' time at the Indy Road Course.
Well, we can move into the post-race portion of this broadcast with driver interviews. And the first man we're going to talk to is Daniel Edmonds from simrigs.com DPR. Look pretty dominant out there from the commentary box, Daniel. Was it the same for you in the cockpit?
It's never the same in the cockpit, obviously. You have a lot going on. So I was a little bit worried all sort of week with my testing that maybe my race pace wasn't as strong as my quali pace, but I think from the middle of maybe the second stint on the hards, yeah, I was able to put some good laps in, and then obviously the safety car helping me go a few extra laps, I could put the softs on and make it to the end. So yeah, once that happened, I was a lot more comfortable and able to sort of drive within myself a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like you weren't using much of the push to pass early on. Do you think that's the way to go in this series, depending on obviously where you are in the field? We saw some drivers further back using a lot of push to passes early on, but if you're up the front, it seems like saving them is the way to go.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what you want to do. Saving them for the end. You know, you might get a late safety car and then you can use your push to pass, and the cars around might have already used some of theirs up. So yeah, things like that you have to think about, but I felt pretty comfortable, and it seemed a lot of people around me had the same idea. So yeah, you could just drive as quick as you could without having to press the button and use it all up at the end.
Indianapolis road course for the next round. It's a very different circuit to Sebring, practically no bumps to speak of, and nice smooth curbs most of the way around. Do you think that you've got it in hand to potentially take 2 wins in a row to start the season?
To be honest, I've barely done a lap at Indy Road Course, so I'm going to be doing a lot of testing. I sort of know where it goes, but maybe it won't be quite as good as Sebring. I've done a lot of laps here, but we'll see what we can do.
Excellent stuff. Well, thanks for joining us, Daniel Edmonds. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I've definitely got a list of people I like to thank. So first of all, I want to thank everyone in the team. You know, it's been great. We have 6 of us in the race, so a lot of us trying to help each other out and everything like that. So full credit to everyone in the team. They did really well as well. So super proud of them. And obviously thanks to our sponsors, simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, and NP Designs.
Well, Daniel Edmonds with us there, race 1 winner. And of course, a very strong second place for the reigning champion of this series. Brady, you stood by with Cam Dance.
Cameron Dans, congratulations first off on your position number 2 finish here tonight. Really frantic battle in the last half of that race with Timothy Vaughan there. What were your thoughts heading into battle with Timothy in the last remaining laps there?
Yeah, to be honest, I was just basically waiting off the deal. I'm trying to make sure that my tyres weren't going to be completely stuffed by the time I got to the chicken play because they were starting to drop off pretty hard right at the end. So, yeah, it was pretty hard work. Good fun, though, not going to lie. It's been a while since I've done a road course race in this car competitively, so good to get back in it and get away with the podium and also have some good battles along the way.
We did notice that you did save a lot of your push to passes right to the end of the race. Was that a strategy you had going into the race, just in case you had a battle like that, you could use them up, or was it more of a on-the-fly move to save them to the end of the race?
I was going to try and actually break them up across the entire race, to be honest. I thought I was going to try and split it up so that I equally use 10 across the entire race. But once I pitted for, did my second pit, I think it was. No, my first one, that's right, because I pitted early and I was like, oh, yeah, no, this isn't going to work well. So I knew that I was going to be a little bit stuffed on the alternates once I jumped onto them. So I was going to have to save up the push to pass a bit more. And obviously, being around no cars as well, it kind of meant that there was no point using it as well. So it ended up being that I saved up enough to the point where I actually had two left as I crossed the finish line. So I probably was a little bit too conservative, but still got away with second at the end.
Sebring is well known for all its bumps and everything that goes along with that. Was that a massive challenge for you? Obviously, in these Indy cars, it's not a common track for these cars. So was that a big challenge for you throughout that whole race?
Not so much. I mean, I've done plenty of laps around here in downforce cars and done plenty of laps in the IndyCar on road courses. So it was like pretty much another race to me, and obviously I've done races in the IndyCar around like Belle and stuff before, so no real skin off my back. But Jesus, it was hard work doing an hour of that with plenty of bumps and all sorts of physical challenges going on with my wheel.
Yeah, well, we picked you up a few times on the camera and looked like you were working really, really hard. Hopefully you don't have to work too much harder for round number 2 at the Indy road course in 2 weeks' time. What are your thoughts heading into that round?
Yeah, I reckon it'll be a good round, to be honest. I've raced the Super Formula around the area, so I imagine it's going to be pretty similar. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's obviously going to be a lot smoother, so not going to have to worry about too much physical effort. But yeah, hey, looking forward to it in the rest of the season. It's going to be an awesome season by the looks of it, and probably plenty of battling as well.
Well, once again, congratulations on your second place finish here tonight, Cam. But before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, so obviously shout out to the boys at Orbit Motorsport and all our sponsors on the car: Hybrid Tune, Demon Tweaks, Flight CRC, Sim3D, and there's probably one I'm forgetting. Oh, Sim Racing Bible. And obviously the likes of Dan and the boys for putting on the awesome series after poking them for the past 6 months. And obviously Jay and you boys for the awesome broadcasts and all the boys for the awesome racing.
Congratulations once again, Dan. Hopefully we get to talk to you again in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, hopefully. Cheers, man.
There's Cameron Dan's position number 2 here at Sebring, and race I believe you caught up with our third place finisher, Timothy Vaughan.
Indeed, Timothy Vaughan's with us in the comms box now. You had a hell of a go at Cam in the final laps, didn't you, Tim? What do you think was what gave him the edge over you there?
He could just pull an absolute mammoth move on me at Sunset Bend every time, and I didn't really have an answer for it. Twice I tried to cut back one time, I tried to hang it around the outside, but he's just a quality driver and he really knows where to put the car in the battles, and you know, maybe I've got a bit of learning to do, but that was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it looked like you were having a great time out there and getting a podium finish to boot. Of course, opening with the with a question about you being beaten by Cam probably wasn't the best way to start the interview, but it takes nothing away from your performance this round. You must be very happy with how the car felt. Of course, it being a fixed setup, you can't do much about the way the car feels, but it seemed like you had your eye in here.
Yeah, and made a couple of changes on the anti-roll bar, which is one of the few settings that we can change in these fixed setups, which sort of helped me with the car, and I sort of gradually settled into the race a bit. I think I got a bit of a wake-up call those first few laps where I just got mugged off the start and fell back a few spots. So I was glad to be able to settle in and really learn how to race against these guys. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, third place out of round one here. What's the overall championship picture looking like for you? Have you given much thought to the full season ahead?
I mean, it bodes well. I think Sebring's one of my stronger tracks, so we'll see how I go next week at Indy Road. But it's probably championships long-term thoughts at the moment. I'll just take each race as it comes for now.
Yeah, seems like the best way to do it. Tim, big thanks for joining us here. Is there anyone you'd like to thank from your team before we let you go?
Yeah, just want to thank everybody at Vermilion Motorsports. Thank our sponsors, Moser, Berlin Motor Group, Dr. Epoxy. And thank you guys for the broadcast.
All right, big thanks for joining us, Timothy Vaughan. Hopefully we can catch you next time. Remember, this is the schedule that we are going for in Fixed Indy Australia Season 2. We are obviously staying at road courses for the first 3 rounds, but then we alternate road course and oval up until round 8, and then Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the oval layout for an Indy 500 to end off the season. Brady, again, a fantastic schedule, and looking forward to seeing how the season plays out here with drivers' versatility being tested.
Yeah, it certainly is a fantastic schedule. I love the variety with road courses and ovals. Obviously, Texas and IR more intermediate oval tracks. Auto Club a little bit bigger. I think it's a 2-mile oval, and then obviously Indianapolis Oval. You know, I don't have to explain that one at all. And obviously, if you international visits with Spa and Hockenheim, I'm really looking forward to Spa. That's going to be a very interesting race. That one at round 5 on April 16. So, lot to look forward to. Obviously, the next 2 rounds, pretty typical IndyCar road courses with Indy Road and obviously Barber. So be looking really forward to that, and fantastic schedule on the cards. I'm really looking forward to it. If tonight's any indication, it's going to be a fantastic season.
Yeah, indeed. And we hope that you can all join us here wherever you are in the world for the full season of Fixed Indy Australia here on SimSpeed TV. Whatever platform you're watching on too, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch and Kick, all streaming live on these platforms throughout the season. Once again, I'm Reese Gardner, Brady Baldwin with me in the comms box, and Jay Kennedy in the producer's chair bringing you the live pictures tonight. We're SimSpeed TV. Big thanks to the crew at Aussie Online Gaming for putting Fixed Indy Australia together for a second season. We'll see you next round.